So today I'm going to talk about the candle problem, which is basically a study from 1946 and how it kind of relates today. And what I'm going to talk a little bit about is intrinsic motivation and empowering people around you. For the most part, where's my, mic's not working? Hello? Hello? Okay. Some people tend to think I'm a little bit motivated, possibly ambitious. I'm a principal in 3 different companies. I played a little baseball in college. I was actually a signed musician on a couple different record labels back in the day. More than likely, I think I just didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and that's pretty much what my wife tells me. But I'm going to start with a little history. Back in 1945, there was a Gestalt psychiatrist by the name of Karl Duncker, and he created what they called Dunker's candle problem, or the candle problem. And basically what he did was he took a group of people and he says, I got a candle, I got a box of tacks, and I got a book of matches. Your goal is to fix that candle to the wall and make sure, and light it, and make sure that that candle wax doesn't drip on the table. So does anybody have any idea maybe how to solve this problem right now? Anyone seen it before? All right. What's that? What's that? Yes, okay, good, good. Well, then as you know, there was a couple different solutions that people came up with. One was, let me take the candle, I'm going to go ahead and tack it to the wall, and then I'm going to light it. That didn't work, obviously. Others said, maybe I'll melt the candle, and then I'll stick it to the wall. That obviously didn't work as well. So then what he did was, for this cognitive problem, he changed the way the tools are presented, not the tacks. But the moment that he did that, rather than just having the tacks in the box and having the tacks outside of the box, he changed the function of that particular box, and almost every single person in the test was able to reach the optimal solution. So then what happened was in 1962, so that's the actual solution right there, just in case anybody didn't know. In 1962, a guy by the name of Sam Glucksberg goes, you know, I'm going to take this one step further. I'm going to incentivize it. I'm going to see if I incentivize people, if they'll be able to come up with the optimal solution when the tasks are basically presented the same. So, do incentives promote better performance? That's what Glucksberg is trying to find out. So, as you can see here, we have the 2 setups. So who do you think won? The people that were incentivized, that were going to give money for solving the problem faster, or the ones that were just a control group, they were just asked to solve this simple problem? Anyone? Exactly. So the high drive people, the highly incentivized people, they actually took 3.5 minutes longer to perform the task. The ones who weren't incentivized were actually able to do it, and they were the ones who did it faster when the tacks were located inside the box. So basically what Glucksberg is finding out is that incentives don't necessarily always increase performance. It doesn't always need to operate in an if-then premise. So the London School of Economics actually did an even further test, and they actually presented a lot of different tasks. And what they found out was the following, that as long as the task involved only mechanical skill, basically straightforward, you have clearly defined the path, this is how you're going to get the task done, the incentivized people always did well. However, once a task called even marginal cognitive skills, the higher the incentive, the poorer was the performance. And in 8 of the 9 tasks we examined across the 3 experiments, high incentives always led to less performance or worse performance. So it's kind of interesting that they took these very simple tasks and coming to find out that this if-then proposition that we've always been operating in from our subordinates to our children doesn't always work. It doesn't always get the desired result. So that whole management and incentivized thing, I consider it kind of a 20th century management. And I'm gonna give you a couple examples. So there's one example, and this is going to be on both sides of the notion of my personal life. I was working for a company for quite some time. They've been in Wisconsin industry, been around a very long time. I had done a lot of functional fix-it type tasks within the organization, from clerical to management to basic tasks, ordering parts, what have you. And I wasn't necessarily motivated by it. I didn't have an intrinsic motivation to actually perform it, but I've got blinking going on. But it was something I did. Well, new management came in, new leadership came in, and I was tasked with actually growing the size of the company. You needed to grow the company, and not just incremental growth. They wanted me to grow it, double the size of it within 3 years. I had no incentives. They didn't offer me any more money. They didn't offer me anything. But here is your purpose. This is what we need you to do. And we did it. And I was actually able to do it without incentive. So it was something I realized I'm not that type of person where I just like to, check off boxes on a checklist. I need to have a purpose. I need to have a little autonomy, and I want to be able to master something. Now, on the other end, once I started my own business, and all the tasks that come along with that beset upon you basically when you start to just to run your own business, I had a very, very high incentive to do something, and that was collections. I needed to call and get the money in the door, and I was terrible at it, absolutely terrible. And I had the highest incentive there possibly was. I needed to pay my people, I needed to pay my truck leases, I needed to do whatever I could, but I was terrible at it, and I knew I needed to find somebody who could handle those skills. I brought someone in, God bless you, Elsie, I thank you so much wherever you are right now, hopefully collecting money. But I brought her in, and she took it on. I said, you know, I can't pay you by performance. I can pay you fairly, but this is a blank slate. I need you to take this over. I need you to create it. Create the systems, create the processes, and make this happen. And she did it. And she did it because I allowed her to work autonomously, because the organization allowed her to have some purpose, and it allowed her to really master what she was doing for the organization. So what I really learned, I think, about myself and then also about leadership was if and then doesn't always work. I don't think it's always the best. If you do this, then you get this. We need to allow our people to really take ownership of what they do. We need to allow them to work autonomously. There's a lot of smart people out there. Surround yourself with them and allow them to succeed on their own. I think that's the number one thing we can do as leaders, and with our subordinates and with our peers as well. So author Daniel Pink, he actually really talks in depth about this particular subject. And here are the three things that he really thinks that inspire intrinsic motivation, and that is autonomy, mastery, and purpose. When we have those three things in place, you're going to find you're going to get a lot out of your people. And you're going to get a lot out of yourself as well. So you really need to ask yourself, you know, am I this taskmaster-driven person, or am I someone who really likes to work for a purpose? Why do I wake up every day, and why should anybody care? And do I want to take mastery of what I'm doing? Because I think that we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our peers, and we owe it to the people that report to us as well. So I think if we do that, we're going to be better people, we're going to be better leaders and better motivators. And I'll leave you with a great quote from Mr. Bill Gates, which everyone knows: as we look ahead in the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. So I would ask for you to go out and empower someone today. Thank you so much.